The exact year of Alp Arslan's birth is uncertain, with medieval chroniclers offering varying accounts. Some writers from the 12th and 13th centuries suggest 1032 or 1033, while others record 1030. Modern historians, following the evidence presented by Ibn al-Athir, consider 20 January 1029 to be the most probable date. Born into the prominent Seljuk dynasty, Alp Arslan was the son of Chagri Beg and the nephew of Tugril Beg, the first sultans of the empire. His lineage traced back to Mikhail, son of the warrior leader Seljuk. Alp Arslan fathered many children, among them his famous successor Malik Shah I and his brother Tutush I. Though the identities of their mothers are not all certain, he is known to have married more than once. His wives included Tugril's widow, a Karakhanid princess known as Aka or Seferiye Hatun, and a Georgian princess related to King Bagrat IV. Another branch of the family, descending from Seljuk's son Arslan Israel, often rivaled his line. From that branch came Kutalmish and his son Suleiman, whose descendant Kilij Arslan later became a fierce opponent of the Crusaders in Anatolia. Before rising to the throne, Alp Arslan gained military experience serving beside his uncle Tuhril in campaigns against the Fatimids in the south, while his father governed Khorasan. Upon his return, he took part in the administration of the province under his father's guidance. During this time, he was introduced to Nizam al-Mulk, a brilliant statesman who would later become his trusted vizier and one of the key architects of the Seljuk state. In the early 1040s, when his father fell ill, the Ghaznavid ruler Maudud saw an opportunity to attack the Seljuks' eastern territories. Leading his forces into Tokharistan, Maudud captured several strongholds. Alp Arslan, then stationed in Balkh, quickly organized a counterattack and defeated the invaders, driving them back beyond the Oxus River. A second attempt by the Ghaznavids also failed, and the Seljuks soon reclaimed the lost territory. Pushing their advantage, Alp Arslan and his father launched a successful campaign that brought the cities of Termez, Kubadian, Vaksh, and Kunduz under Seljuk control, securing Tokharistan and firmly establishing Seljuk dominance in the region. This early victory marked the beginning of Alp Arslan's rise as both a capable general and a future ruler destined to expand the Seljuk Empire's power across the Islamic world. A few years after Maudud of Ghazni's defeat in Tokharistan, he attempted to rebuild his power by uniting regional forces against the Seljuks. He reached out to the Karakhanids and the Buyids to form a grand alliance. Both accepted his proposal, and the allied armies planned to gather for a coordinated campaign. However, fate intervened. Maudud fell seriously ill while marching to meet his allies, forcing his army to withdraw. Around the same time, the Buyid troops advancing from Isfahan were struck by a devastating epidemic in the desert near Tabas, which decimated their ranks and claimed the life of their commander. Meanwhile, unaware of these setbacks, the Karakhanid ruler Arslan Khan invaded Seljuk lands, plundering Termez and threatening Balkh. In response, Alp Arslan launched a swift counterattack, defeated Arslan Khan, and drove him back to the banks of the Amu Darya. The Karakhanid ruler then sued for peace, and after direct negotiations between Chagri Beg and Arslan Khan, a treaty was concluded, bringing temporary stability between the two powers. While his uncle Tugril was occupied with the siege of Isfahan, Alp Arslan independently led a daring assault on the Buyid city of Fasa, capturing it without his uncle's approval. To avoid being reprimanded, he quickly returned to Khorasan after securing his victory, In 1056, internal strife within the Ghaznavid realm gave the Seljuks another opportunity for expansion. Chagri Beg advanced toward Ghazna, but was repelled by the Ghaznavid commander Hirhiz, who captured several Seljuk officers. Alp Arslan, with his father's consent, launched a retaliatory expedition and defeated Hirhiz, restoring Seljuk dominance in Khorasan. 3 years later, in 1059, Alp Arslan campaigned against the Karakhanids again and captured the city of Chaganian. The Karakhanid ruler, Ibrahim ibn Nasr, complained to the Abbasid Caliph, but his appeal achieved nothing. He received only ceremonial titles in return. That same year, Alp Arslan played a decisive role in the Battle of Ray. When the rebel general Ibrahim Yinal turned against Sultan Tugril, Alp Arslan, along with his brothers Kavurt and Yakuti, led an army to assist their uncle. The rebels' forces were defeated, and Ibrahim Yinal and his nephews were captured, ending the revolt. In 1063, Alp Arslan marched on Kutul to suppress a rebellion. The siege of the fortified Hulbuk castle proved difficult at first, but after a fierce assault led personally by Alp Arslan, the fortress fell, and the rebel emir was killed. Later that same year, he defeated another challenger, Musa Yabgu, who had seized Herat after Tugril's death. After reclaiming Herat, Alp Arslan pardoned his rebellious relative, showing his characteristic combination of firmness and magnanimity. Soon after, he crushed a separate uprising in Chaganian and marched westward to secure his claim to the throne. Following his father's death, Alp Arslan inherited Khorasan, but the death of Tugril in 1063 sparked a new succession dispute. Tugril had named Alp Arslan's younger brother Suleiman as heir, but both Alp Arslan and his cousin Kutalmish contested this. The conflict culminated in the Battle of Damgan, where Alp Arslan emerged victorious and was proclaimed Sultan on the 27th of April 1064, uniting the Seljuk Empire from the Oxus to the Tigris. That same year, he led a grand campaign towards the northwest. Accompanied by Nizam al-Mulk and his son Malik Shah, he invaded Armenia and Georgia, capturing key strongholds such as Akalkalaki, Alaverdi, and Anberd, as well as the powerful fortress city of Ani after a brutal 25-day siege. The city was sacked, thousands were slain, and its treasures taken, an event that marked the firm establishment of Seljuk dominance in the Caucasus. Shortly afterward, Alp Arslan turned southward. A dispute between his brother Kavurt and the governor of Shiraz prompted him to march into Fars. Kavurt's forces surrendered, and Alp Arslan pardoned him, leaving him in charge of Kerman while appointing Fazluya as governor of Fars. In 1065, he led a massive expedition north to the Ustyurt and Mangashalak steppes, defeating Turkic tribes such as the Kipchaks and Jazeks. He later visited the tomb of his grandfather Seljuk in Jand, symbolically dedicating the eastern territories to his son, Malik Shah. By the end of this campaign, Seljuk control stretched from the Caspian Sea to Tashkent. Kavurt rebelled again in 1067, but was swiftly defeated and forgiven once more. In 1068, Alp Arslan returned to Georgia after King Bagrat IV broke a previous peace agreement. His forces captured Tbilisi, Kars, and several other regions, compelling the Georgian king to submit. Though Georgia regained its independence after Alp Arslan's death, it would later fall again under Seljuk influence during Malik Shah's reign. In 1066, Alp Arslan formally declared his son Malik Shah as his heir, securing the dynasty's continuity. The following year, he led a raid deep into Cappadocia, sacking Caesarea and desecrating its cathedral, an act that provoked the Byzantine Emperor Romanos IV Diogenes into launching his counteroffensive campaigns. By 1070, Seljuk power had expanded to include Mecca and Medina. That same year, responding to appeals for aid against the Fatimids, Alp Arslan led his army through Azerbaijan and into Anatolia. He captured Manzikert, Erchish, and several fortresses, then moved south to Edessa and Aleppo, where he subdued the rebellious emir and incorporated the city as a Seljuk vassal. Just as he was preparing to advance further toward Egypt, word reached him of new Byzantine activity to the north, prompting him to turn his attention toward Manzikert, where his most famous battle would soon take place. Marching toward Syria in 1068 to confront the Fatimids, Alp Arslan struck first at Byzantine territory. Emperor Romanos IV Diogenes took personal command and met the threat in Cilicia. Over 3 hard campaigns, the imperial forces pushed the Turks back and, by 1070, drove them across the Euphrates. The first 2 expeditions were led by Romanos himself. The third was entrusted to Manuel Komnenos, brother of the future emperor Alexios I. During these years, Alp Arslan also won the allegiance of Rashid al-Dawla Mahmud, the Mirdasid ruler of Aleppo. In 1071, Romanos set out once more, advancing east with a mixed host that included Cuman horsemen and Frankish and Norman contingents under the adventurer Ursel de Bayoul. Alp Arslan, who had been moving south against the Fatimids, wheeled his army north to meet the emperor. On learning that Manzikert had fallen to the Byzantines, he marched from Silvan toward Alat. The 2 armies drew up on the plain near Manzikert. Alp Arslan sent one last embassy proposing terms. Romanos refused. The Sultan formed his line, hid part of his cavalry in the hills, and kept a picked force at the center under his direct command. The Byzantines also set their ranks and prepared for battle on the 25th of August. At daybreak on the 26th of August, the fighting began with a Seljuk assault and feigned retreat. Romanos pressed forward with the imperial center. When the Byzantines reached the narrow ground, the Seljuk center wheeled and attacked, while the concealed wings fell upon the flanks. Encircled and thrown into confusion, the imperial army collapsed. For the first time, a reigning Byzantine emperor was captured on the field by a Turkish Muslim commander, and the rout of the Byzantine host was complete. Romanos was brought before Alp Arslan. Later stories describe tense exchanges and rough treatment, with the Sultan upbraiding his prisoner for rejecting earlier offers of peace. Whatever the exact words, the outcome was clear. Alp Arslan spared the emperor and arranged his release for a ransom and renewed pledges, sending him back toward Constantinople under Turkish escort with banners proclaiming Islamic triumph. Mercy suited Seljuk strategy. With the Fatimids still raiding, the Sultan had no interest in igniting a wider, simultaneous war with Byzantium. Even Romanos is said to have warned that killing him would serve no useful purpose. In the aftermath, Alp Arslan and his heir Malik Shah encouraged Turkmen clans to ride into Anatolia, both to reduce pressure within the Seljuk realm and to extend its frontiers. The victory transformed the balance of power in Western Asia. Byzantium endured, but Manzikert opened Anatolia to sustained Turkic settlement, and the triumph became so celebrated that many Anatolian notables later claimed an ancestor who fought there. In 1072, Alp Arslan turned east with a great army toward Transoxiana. He crossed the Oxus with ships and advanced into Karakhanid lands, besieging Barzum. The fortress soon surrendered, But during the capitulation, the commander, Yusuf al-Khwarizmi, lunged at the Sultan with a dagger and struck him a mortal blow. Alp Arslan lingered 4 days before dying and was buried at Merv. He had already named his son, Malik Shah, as successor, ensuring an orderly transfer of power. Alp Arslan's government rested on military strength supported by a capable civil administration. Nizam al-Mulk, his celebrated vizier, shaped the institutions that sustained both Alp Arslan and Malik Shah, organizing land grants for soldiers, settling nomads, and tying the army's upkeep to the resources of the empire's towns and provinces. Suleiman ibn Kutalmish, son of Alp Arslan's former rival, was posted to the northwest to spearhead the push into Anatolia, a choice that balanced family rivalry with pragmatic statecraft. Contemporaries portray the Sultan as imposing and disciplined, a master archer with a stern presence. Pious and committed to Sunni Hanafi learning, he kept jurists and scholars close even on campaign. Those who wrote of him, friend and foe alike, often emphasized both his severity and his sense of justice. Near the end, he is remembered as reflecting that pride and overconfidence had invited disaster, a final lesson from a ruler whose victories remade the map of the Middle East.